All right, friends. So for those of you who don't know, I am Sarah Salz, Sarah from Sarah Salz LLC. I have attended eBay Opens. I spoke at eBay Open last year. So today I'm going to be kind of sharing with you guys how to plan for eBay Open. If this isn't your first rodeo or your first eBay Open, we were kind of chatting a little bit, but just to catch everyone up, I do sell in women's fashion. I sell on eBay, the platforms as well, but I sell on eBay in the fashion category. So planning for eBay Open, if you haven't attended in the past, or if you have attended in the past, you know, we had this session on stage and everyone was giving us tips on how to navigate, but we want to be able to get the most out of eBay Open. I see a couple of these friends in the chat here. Getting the most out of eBay Open. So first, what I do, because it's a lot, it's overwhelming. There's so much content. And I feel like this year they've just really increased the content as well, which is great, but it's just a lot. So what I do before I even go to eBay Open, I'll probably do this sometime next week or maybe this weekend, is sit down and start with a plan. You don't have to sit down. You can stand up, you can go for a walk, but come up with what you want out of eBay Open. And this is going to be different for everybody. We're all in different places in our business or our side hustle, whatever it is for you. Come up with what you're wanting. Are you wanting networking? Are you wanting to learn tools? Are you wanting business tips? What kind of questions do you have? Write them down, because it can get to be a lot. It can get to be very overwhelming. And if you don't have a plan and you don't have your exact questions written down, it may come to an end and you're like, oh, I forgot to ask this question, or I forgot to look into this, right? So write it down and come up with a plan. Once you have your plan and what you want, now go back and look, or go for the first time if you haven't looked yet, and look at the schedule for eBay Open. Look at what sessions they have. Look at what breakouts they have. Look at what networking they have, and schedule your day out. And as we saw in the presentation earlier, many of you know this from last year as well too, you can go into and add them to your calendar. And I highly, highly recommend doing this, because oftentimes our days get away from us. If you can't do it straight from Hopin, you can go in and, you know, just add it to your calendar. Or if you're more of a pen and paper or a paper and pencil person, do it that way, but come up with a schedule that's going to meet your goals that you came up with in starting the plan. Look at the schedule and add them to your calendar. Prioritize, as mentioned, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but prioritize the live sessions, because this is where you can get your questions answered. They have added this year, and I'm going to talk about a few more things that they've added that I'm super excited about, but they have added this year that you can have, they're doing live Q&A at the end. I'm doing it here, and then they'll be doing it on eBay Open as well. So all of those questions that you had written down, you can now ask those specifically on the tab, not in the chat, but ask them on the tab, those questions, and you're getting your questions answered by, you know, some really great sellers, by possibly some executives at eBay. Whatever your questions are in the right place, you're having direct access to a lot of these amazing people that are going to be at eBay Open. A lot of them I kind of see in the chat, as well as I just saw Clara pop up from List Perfectly. You know, think about some of the tools that you have questions about. A lot of them are going to be in the expo hall, and you can have direct access and talking to them. So go through the days, look at the schedule, and plan it out. Next, like I said, new to eBay Open this year. Many of you, I'm assuming if you're attending this session, you are attending it because you've been in the past. So I'm not going to talk about all the features that you guys already know about, or possibly that they talked about on stage, but things that are new to us this year that I'm excited about, that I think are really going to help level up eBay Open and help you get the most out of it. Like I mentioned, eBay Open, all of the sessions this year are going to have a live Q&A after the presentation. Friends, I'm talking all of them. When are you going to be able to have direct access to some of these people at eBay, right? So come up with as many questions as you have. I mean, I can't guarantee they're all going to get answered, but they're definitely not going to get answered if you don't ask them. So come up with the questions that you have, and make sure to prioritize these sessions. The ones that you have questions for, prioritize those for the live Q&A, because you can go back and watch them as a replay, but you're not going to be able to ask the live Q&A, obviously, because it's not live anymore. Another thing I'm super stoked about, and what I love about eBay is, y'all probably remember the survey that we took at the end of last year trying to get swag, right? But also give our feedback, and they listened. We like these seller-led sessions, and they have increased it by 71%. And let me tell you, there are some really amazing seller-led sessions I'm super excited about. I'm going to show you in a few minutes the ones that I'm the most excited about right now. But I will say, you know, there's a lot of great sellers that are speaking at eBay Open in the chat right now that I'm super excited about. Category-specific networking sessions. This is amazing because oftentimes eBay Open, we're learning about eBay, we're learning about the tools and all of this, but you have specific questions that pertain to your category. And there's things that you can talk to other sellers about that it's hard to find that in everyday life, right? We are not, as resellers, you don't get this kind of networking, and taking it up a notch and going to the category specific networking, you're able to ask those questions. So again, come up with the questions. Hey, in my category, how do I list this? The very specific category questions, this is where you're going to want to go in the networking and get all of those questions answered. Before I go on, I'm seeing maybe a couple questions on the chat. I just want to make sure that if you do have a question and you want it answered, to put it in the Q&A tab, and we'll get to that at the very end. All right, category selling interviews. I'm kind of excited about this. I don't really know exactly what it's going to look like, and so I'm super excited to attend them and hear about these category specific. Like I said, I'm in women's fashion. It was the #1 category, they said on stage, of people coming next to collectibles, right? So I'm super excited about those. More demos of products, which is, you know, amazing. Not only is it, hey, you should use this, but they're actually going through and saying showing how to use it step by step, which is great. Not just, hey, use this, but like, how do we actually use this? I think as many of you are coming back as veteran eBay openers, which means you're probably veteran sellers. So it's good to get one step deeper in that. And then the one-on-one networking, as Rebecca mentioned, it's kind of like a speed dating, which sounds a little intimidating. I've been married for like, I don't know, 12 years or something. Sounds a little intimidating, but it sounds super fun to be able to network. This is one of the things that most people miss most about having it online and virtual instead of being in person, is the networking. And eBay has taken it up a couple notches this year to provide more networking sessions so that we can connect with each other, connect with our categories, and connect with other sellers that really understand what we're doing and being able to help. I think I skipped one. Did I skip one? Yes. So eBay Open like a pro. These are kind of my tips. I went through, I was asked to do this, and I was like, okay, what would I tell someone who's already been to eBay Open? How are you going to maximize your time? How are you going to maximize the content? The first thing I thought of is don't miss the keynote. Honestly, my first couple of times, it was so much that I was like, oh, the keynote, I don't really care. I've been to conferences for other careers that I've been in, and it's always kind of boring, to be honest. But the past couple of years, I've gone to the keynotes, and I will tell you the information that you get from that, and just the feeling that you get from the speakers, right? You're talking eBay executives here. You're getting a feel for where they've been, what they're doing, what they've seen at eBay, where they're taking us, where they're, right? They are in charge of eBay, right? But we're the sellers, and we're really what is holding it up, and us working together and seeing that connection and hearing what they have to say. They release new tools here. They're talking about all kinds of different things. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. I'm going to skip down to it because it's relevant right now, is listen in the background. So the keynote for me is typically something that, yes, I want to hear it, but I don't need to be in the chat. I don't need to necessarily be as engaged in it. And friends, we all have businesses to run. So the keynotes is something that I really make sure to attend, but it's typically like in the background. I always have my notebook with me. We'll get to that one in a minute, but always have my notebook with me, listen to it, write down notes as I think about it. Networking rooms. This is invaluable. This is one of the disappointing things about not having it in person, is it's much harder to network, but I think eBay is really doing a good job of stepping it up and giving us more like the one-on-one and having category specific to where we can really get what we need out of these networking. And the benefit, honestly, of having it online is, you know, in person, you have maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people to network with. I think the last I heard, eBay has like 16,000 people registered for eBay Open. So your networking potential is high. You're not going to be in a position that you can have access to people who are doing what we're doing, who have the knowledge of what we're doing, and even just commiserating with someone who knows what you're talking about. So definitely check out the networking rooms, the ones that fit into your schedule and the ones that are relevant to your categories and the questions, the plan that you had at the very beginning. Have your questions written down, right? We mentioned having a plan. Write down all of the questions that you have, because you can't get them answered if you don't know what they are. And then definitely prioritize those live sessions, prioritize the expos, the networking, whatever it is. Figure out where you need to go to get those questions answered. You're not going to have access to this many eBay sellers, this many tools, and you know, List Perfectly just popped up again. You're not going to have access to Clara again. So go to the expos, get those questions answered. Take notes, lots and lots of notes. You may think, hey, I'm going to remember that. You're not. There's so much content. There's multiple days of content. Write it all down. And what I like to do is I just go through and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, that's, you know, just kind of scribble and take notes as I'm popping around. And then at the end of the day, I typically type it up because I'm a much faster typer. They have said that there is a mind to hand connection. So I do usually like to write it down because it kind of sinks in a little bit better. But then I go through and kind of type up my notes. I do this oftentimes, you know, for YouTube and to kind of summarize what happened at eBay Open, but also just to come from my own personal gain, like, okay, what was said and how am I going to use this in my business? Like I mentioned, walk away or listen in the background while you work. Some of the sessions, obviously the networking, you can't just listen in the background. Keynote's a great one for that. Category specifics, maybe it's just information. I have a hard time with a lot of those sessions because I want to take so many notes. I've tried it in the past to listen, and then I'm stopping every 30 seconds to write something down. So I've kind of stopped doing that. I didn't put it on here, but make sure to have food and water. These can be long days. And because they're virtual, they don't have lunches. They don't, you know, I mean, I think we have breaks and stuff, but make sure to stay hydrated and feed yourself. Walk away inspired and with a plan. And what I like to do is, like I said, you take notes, you take lots of notes. I summarize them at the end of every day. And then at the end of eBay Open, I look at everything and I make action items. Last year, I think I learned something about maybe sell similar and how to kind of use that in your strategy. I think it was from another seller, actually, networking. I don't remember exactly. It was a year ago, but I remember walking out of eBay Open and saying, hey, I have 3 new strategies that I am going to work on. Come out of it with a plan, and then go back to your plan in the beginning and make sure that you got all your questions, answers, and what you're going to do with those. Oh, I skipped ahead. Sorry. Looking forward. Okay, so these are the ones I'm looking forward to. Like, there's so many to pick from, friends. I am going to give a shout out to some of my friends that are in, or some of the people that are in the chat. I call everyone friends. I am going to give a shout out. You know, Anna's here. Her session was amazing last year. One of the top attended sessions. Hustle B is here. I think he's going. Lots of seller-led sessions that are, if they're important to you or relevant to you, definitely make sure to attend the seller sessions, because eBay provides us the tools. eBay provides us, you know, what they're doing and supporting us, but the sellers are really in the nitty gritty with us. And that's where I get most of my tips. And I think that's why most people are like, hey, we want 71% more of these sessions. So a lot of the seller sessions, I'm definitely going to make sure to attend. Some of the other ones I'm looking forward to is the economic forces shaping consumer spending patterns. So I'm in fashion. I'm in women's fashion. Sales are, you know, have been on the decline for me. The economy is not doing great. And so I really want to understand what's going on in the economy, how it's going to impact my sales, and what I can do to make it through. What I like about every year that eBay brings on someone to discuss the economy, it's a third party. So it's not eBay analyzing and telling us what they think to make it fluff. It is actual, I think this year they have McKinsey & Company. So an economic company or firm that is coming on and discussing the economics. This one, no matter what you sell, is going to help your business, because if y'all don't know, I'm a numbers person. So obviously I like this, but it is going to help your business because you can understand where people are right now with their money and how to strategize around that. Resources for sellers, lots of things that you can do to grow your business. I'm always open to learning different tips and tricks and things and tools that we can use to heighten our selling experience. And then ultimately the buyer experience at the end of the day, increasing our sales, right, friends? This is why we're here. At least for me, that's like my plan is, how do I get those sales back up? How do I keep this going? utilizing eBay data for sourcing decisions. So if y'all know me, you could probably guess that this is definitely one that I'm going to go to. I love Terapeak. I think it is an absolutely amazing tool to use and leverage. The fact that eBay gives us access to their data so that we can make decisions about our business is amazing. So I'm excited to see how if there's anything new in eBay and different ways that maybe I can utilize eBay Terapeak in my business. And then obviously, lastly, I'm excited for fashion apparel. Like I said, it's been a rough year. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. With the economy, fashion, it's oversaturated. So I'm excited to see kind of what's going on in the fashion apparel straight from eBay, straight from their mouths to kind of give us ideas of what's going on, maybe plans if they're seeing similar things than what we're seeing, what we can do. They definitely have, they're going to be doing a new and a pre-loved session as well, which I'm super excited about because I sell mostly pre-loved and it's a different ballgame than new, right? So definitely excited for those. That's all I have for you guys. If you do have questions, we're going to pop on over. I think, let me make sure I don't have another slide. Yeah, that's it. And that's all I have. But if there's questions, definitely feel free to ask those in the Q&A, and me and Steph are going to kind of go through and answer them. So
yeah, not too many right now. So definitely swap over to the Q&A tab if you have a specific question. Just as a reminder, the schedule is live and available on ebay.com/open. So you can go there, you can start building your own personal agenda and really kind of see what's there. The networking sessions, just to add on to what Sarah was saying, every day is a different theme. So on Wednesday afternoon, it's category focused. So we've got we've got electronics, we've got vintage jewelry, motors, sneaker, streetwear, a couple different networking rooms. For selling tips on Thursday, product photography, how to leverage Terapeak, top tips for auctions on eBay. And these are all hosted by fellow sellers. So you're talking to people who volunteered and are willing to share their insights and best practices with you guys. So definitely take a look at that. And then, yeah, shout out to the Hustle Bee and Anna Packer, who are in this chat as well. On Thursday, the 28th, they're hosting a selling tip networking session. And then on Friday, we've got Find Your Community. So this is a little bit more broad, whether you are in the Orlando area and want to meet and greet with other sellers in that area. We've got senior citizen sellers of eBay as well. So, we've got a lot of different options for you to go and join and meet and greet and chit chat with your fellow sellers the week of open.
So we have two questions that I think kind of go together. And I've been told this many a times that I speak very quickly. So is there somewhere is this going to be a replay that they can get somewhere?
Yes, this replay we will keep live until the 26th.
Okay, so you guys can come back here. I am Sarah Stiles on everywhere. So if you guys have questions later on, you're like, oh, I should have asked this, always feel free to reach out to me. No problem there. I do know that I speak quickly. Try and get lots of information in. So we do have a couple questions that don't necessarily pertain to the talk today. Those are more like, there's an artist here safeguarding art images. This would be something that would be great. Attend eBay Open. You can ask maybe in the art, is there an art category? This is totally outside of my realm, collectibles, but whatever category it would go in, that would be a great networking or one of those sessions to go there and ask. One, I don't know the answer to that because that's not my category. And also this is more about like eBay Open and how to navigate through eBay Open.
Yeah. And so go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, where can we watch the replay? Can they just come back in here and?
Yes, so come back in here on the left-hand navigation. You will see it says Stage, Sessions, People, Expo, and Replay. So go ahead and click on that replay button and you will see all of these available. All
right. I think I'm going the wrong way because the questions are coming from the top, right?
Top.
So I'm going to start at the bottom. At what point does an LLC make financial sense? Again, questions more around, we're here to talk about eBay Open. I'm not a CPA, so I'm not giving advice on that. If you want to talk about an LLC, because I am, feel free, to reach out and we can chit chat about it, but that's not what we're talking about today. Please encourage all eBay sellers to follow up on any and all refund claims requests if you feel that you're not at fault. So these are great things that you're going to learn in the eBay selling networking, right? Talking to other sellers and tips and tricks that maybe aren't going to be presented. Hey, what do you do about a return? And how do you do this? And how do you do that? The schedule is already out. We had a question about the schedule. It is already out on the eBay Open website, right?
Mm-hmm. eBay.com/open. So if you click, I put it in responded to a couple people's chats. So if you look at the reply, you can see.
Okay, a lot of the same questions about a replay. Okay, so this is a good question that I'm going to refer to you. Are they having multiple Q&A at once, as in you need to choose which one to go to, or is it just one session?
So yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. We are having a couple different sessions at the same time. So if category breakouts, they'll all be running at the same time. If you want to watch one, you can stay for the live Q&A afterwards, but then that does mean you will miss the other category you might want to go to. But all of that will be on the replay. So hopefully someone asks your question that you want to have answered, and you'll be able to watch the live Q&A recorded in the replay section.
But you won't be able to ask the questions, right?
No,
so you have to prioritize which ones you want to ask live questions in, because you have to attend those live. Correct.
That's for the presenters. And then in the expo hall, with all the virtual booths, we've got eBay teams, sponsors, who will be around from 8 to 2. So you can stop in at any time. If you have a specific question about, we've got the eBay ads team, we've got shipping team, we've got a whole bunch of groups there to answer a question at any time. But the live Q&A with the sellers, the category presenters, the training sessions are one at a time only.
I have a question. The keynote speakers, will they have a Q&A at the end too? Or is it just the sessions?
Just the training sessions and the category breakouts. The keynotes you can, I think you would write in the chat, but no live Q&A. Okay. And then swag. From today's event, you'll be getting an email to fill out a survey. Let us know what you think. There is a limited availability, so be the first to reply to and submit your responses to the swag, and you'll get that. And that is the same for the remainder of the event. On the 26th through the 29th, we will have a survey that goes out every day, and that's filling in that survey. Getting your feedback is really important to us for us to help improve year over year, and fill out the survey and you'll get the swag.
All right, we have a more technical question I'm going to let you answer. If we are registered for a local in-person event, do we still need to register for the virtual event?
Nope, you've got access to both.
Tara Pete, can you make it so we can see the actual sold listing? I'd like to see it for the additional keywords or item specifics that may be more common for my item.
Yeah, great question or great feedback. The Tara Pete team will have a booth in the expo hall. So I would recommend during the 3 days of the virtual event, popping into that virtual booth and asking that question for sure.
Yeah. So definitely write down all these questions and any other questions or complaints. Honestly, friends, like I would like to see this, like the ads team's going to be there. Hey, for promoted listings, I would like to see this, this, and this. Or how do I look at this? Or you're not going to have access to these people. This is why it's amazing, the event, and you don't even have to leave your house. You can be in your pajamas. So all of the questions, even from now until then, I've been right, and I didn't mention this in the presentation, but over the course of the year, coming up with, hey, how do you do this? Or this would be a good idea. All of the things that come up, write it down. This is the best place for you to find someone to help answer it.
Yeah. And if the particular team isn't there or doesn't have a virtual booth, Erwin, thank you so much for calling that out. The growth advisors actually will have a booth. And so you can go and ask them anything under the sun that they have the capability of answering. But that would be a really great booth to go visit if the particular team you want to talk to isn't there.
Yeah.
A really great call out. Let's see.
Is there any kickoff parties in Canada?
Not that I'm aware of. I was, to the best of my knowledge, it was only in the States, but let me take a look, see if I can get that answered.
Okay, while you do that, I'll answer this. What sessions are you most looking forward to for eBay Open? So I shared kind of my top ones, but it's 3 days, friends, right? And after even just talking with Steph a little bit more, I'm kind of excited for these different booths because I do have questions like direct for eBay, like how to look at this, or it would be nice to have that. So I think you'll probably see me in some of those as well. Yeah, I shared in the presentation and I can bring it back up so you guys can see the last one.
Let's see. So how do you contact oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
No.
I'll let you finish.
I pulled up the wrong thing. Go ahead.
Okay. No parties in Canada this year, unfortunately, but if you want to sign up, maybe it's not too late. We can figure that out.
So these are my top ones. They're saying, will they go over ways to avoid Vero at the Open this year? I don't know that there's a specific session on that.
Not to my knowledge.
That might be something that you can find depending on who's in the expos, or even just going to some of the networking events because you have access to all these other sellers. I'm sure they have lots of great tips there as well. Is there a session on eBay Live? I don't think so.
Not this year, but I believe the teams will be represented, or if you have any additional questions, again, the growth advisor booth is the place to be.
Repeat on how we get eBay swag. So there's a survey that'll come out. There's limited, so you want to answer it as soon as possible to get swag. And then that's the same for eBay Open as well. God, this is such a good question. I'm going to have to think about it. What question from last year did you forget to ask? I'd be interested to hear what people in the chat have to say too. That's a good question. Yeah. That's a really good question. If I think of it, I'll come back to it.
Yeah. There's a question on hotel accommodations close to the Atlanta event. I typically just use Google for that, or another search engine. If you're a Hilton points member or a Marriott points member, there's plenty of opportunities. There's the Marriott.
eBay's not like working with a hotel for a discount or anything.
No, everyone's just booking it on their own.
There's more questions on swag. Okay, so there's a lot. I think the growth advisor team, these expos are going to be good. Someone's talking about my eBay selling account is broke, international, but lots of growth advisor typey questions. So that would be a great one for you to go to.
Yeah. And then in terms of some of these more like specific questions around return labels and other performance policies, I'm definitely not the right person to answer that question for you. These are really good questions. So please, join us on the 27th, 8th, 9th, and we will do our best to answer all these really, really good questions. Yes, there is a session for eBay Motors. We do have a category breakout. on the 26th at 12:30 Pacific. So that is for sure happening. And yeah, yes, they did give out addresses for the local events. Let's see where I can try and post some of them. I think we're going to be running out of time in a few minutes, so let me try and post that in the chat for you guys really quickly. But yes, we did have that.
I saw a question too, and now I can't find it. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, what's the best way to network or interact with the eBay API developer team? Are they going to have a booth?
Not that specific team, but there will be a bunch of we'll have like business units and product people represented in each of these booths. So if it's under specifically like listing tools or shipping or mobile, go to their booth and they'll be able to either direct your question to the right people and follow up with you afterwards if they don't have the right people staffed.
Okay, so more specific place than the whole API thing.
Yeah. And then last one.
So Forrester is not coming this year. I think it was a McKinsey group instead.
Right.
McKinney group.
McKinsey. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought so.
They're like not the same company, but definitely they do the similar things. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm sure, and that's one of the ones I'm super excited about because the economy is definitely playing an impact, good or bad, depending on what you sell, in our sales right now.
Yeah. So I just put all the locations for the studio event in the chat part of the tab. So please make sure to sign up for that and pre-register in advance. There is limited availability. Is there somewhere we can submit to try and organize in the city? Oh, for the kickoff parties, yes. Why don't we have you email our email list? Let me grab that email for you.
Do you need to reserve a space to speak with growth advisors or just swing by?
No, the virtual booths, the growth advisors will have one, and it's from 8 to 2 all day from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So whenever you are free to chat with them, go ahead and pop in.
I would venture to say that one's probably going to be pretty popular because people typically want growth advisors and we don't have access to them normally. So I would definitely try and, if it were me, and it is, I'm going to try and talk to one too. I would plan early day one. And then if I don't get in, it gives me time throughout my schedule for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Why are the networking sessions limited to only 50 people?
It is a platform limitation that we unfortunately do not have any control over. But that has been feedback that we've given their developers. And just as you guys will share with the rest of the eBay teams, feedback is always welcome, and some things that we can continue to optimize and improve on.
I mean, I will say too, I can see some wanting more, but it's hard to network when there's like 200 people on a Zoom call, right? Which essentially is what it is. And so I can see why they have that limitation, but I think for the purpose of some of these more, you could just go attend and listen and get very valuable information.
Yeah. So the email you can reach us at is sellerevents@ebay.com. If you have any other additional questions or want to see if there's you want to host a kickoff party, I'll post that in the chat side of the tab if you have any questions. All right.
Oh, someone's asking my store name. I'm I'm Sarah Styles LLC, like everywhere. So just find me on eBay, or if you have specific questions, I'm always happy to help you guys too.
Great.